Hey everybody, it's Michele Hermsen, and today we're going to create a really cool watermark logo using a brush tip in Photoshop. So let's get started. Show you how to create a watermark logo using a brush tip in Photoshop. All right, so basically we're going to create a logo, we're going to make it into a brush tip, and then you're going to be able to stamp it on all of your artwork or photographs before you move it onto a social media platform or transfer it into anybody else's hands, so that basically you are represented on all of your artwork and photography work just as you should be. So let's get started. Here's what we do. First thing you're going to do is we have to create a new file document. We need a new canvas, a new piece of paper to actually put our logo on. All right. So what I will do is I'm not going to use the most recent format that I just created a document on, which was a piece of paper. I am going to create a document using pixels. You can use inches, but I'm going to use pixels. And I'm going to make this 1,000 pixels by 1,000 pixels with a resolution of 72, because it doesn't have to be a really big file in order for you to get a good result when it comes to your watermark. All right, now trick is the background contents. We don't want white, we don't want black, we don't want a color. We want this to be transparent so that when we go to stamp it onto a photograph, we only see the logo. We don't see a big white square in the back. You may want that, but it's not so desirable. Okay, now we've got our blank canvas to work with. And what we're going to do is we're going to now begin our process of designing our logo. So by the way, if you hit Apple Plus on your keyboard, it will zoom into your screen. Apple minus will zoom out. All right, so I'm going to zoom into my screen with an Apple Plus. I am now going to go create a new layer. All right, so here's my background layer, and I'm going to go create a new layer by clicking on the little square on the bottom of the layers palette with the corner kind of folded upward. All right, that represents new layer. Then I'm going to go grab my text tool, which is the T tool on my toolbar, all right, which is over here to the far left. I will drag the toolbar over so you can see it a little bit more clearly. And now I'm going to just click onto my document to get to start activating things. Now, here is my font size up here. You'll notice, by the way, it only goes to 72. If I want a bigger font size than a 72, all right, I can type in, look, I'll type in the number 300, and my text will then be actually 300 points. It won't actually do this, I guess, without me having a piece of text here on board. Oh, I jumped around a tad. All right, I am actually going to double click on that T tool and then change this to 300 as I was trying to do before, and there you go. Being a little finicky today, but there you have it. It is now 300. I don't want an F because my name is Michele Hermsen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type an M and an H. Okay. Now I typed the M and the H on one layer purposely because I want to then have a little bit more control over that M and H. The second thing I'm going to do, again, I have the text tool in my hand. I'm going to create yet another layer. All right. And I am going to then click. I'm going to actually change my point size to 72. Boy, this is just kind of hopping all around today. Back to my text tool. All right. I'm going to click 72, and I'm going to type in the word photography. Okay. Now, because that's on its own separate layer, I can then move it freely. All right. And it's not really tied in with the MH yet. Okay. Now, what I can do is I can double click on the T tool, and I want the word photography to be flush with my MH. That's most aesthetically pleasing to me. So I could do that by kind of fooling around with the font sizes. I just I just pressed 90 or put in 90. Let's go to 100. I could go to 100 and play around with it to make it a little bit bigger. And that actually looks pretty darn good. But let's pretend that I had put in 110, and I'm sick of kind of playing around, all right, with the size of the font. Another option, I could go Command T. Now remember that the layer with the word photography is now activated, and I can hold down the Shift key and I can proportionately change that size or push and pull it to whatever I wish. Looks pretty good. All right, so there I have it. Now I could potentially take the layers of the MH and the layer photography, and I could move everything around at one time, just center it for now. I could even go Apple T and transform the whole thing at once. Now, this is black. My logo is black. So if I save this a certain way, it's always going to look black. But if I save this as a brush tip, I can dip my brush into any color paint and paint this logo wherever I wish. So let's do that first. Let's actually create a brush tip. So I'm going to go Edit, Define Brush Preset. All right, and I'm going to call that MH Photo Logo. And I'm going to click OK. Now, when I go to grab my brush tool and I go look at my brushes, the very last brush, all right, and you can see that here, I hope, is MH Photo Logo right here. All right, and that is going to come in real handy when I want to paint my logo onto a picture. So let me actually go to File, New, and bring in just a new piece of paper so you can see this nice and clear. I'm then going to go grab my brush tool, MH Photo Logo, but I have to be, of course, in the brush tool mode. All right, I'm on the brush mode. And I'm going to actually create another layer because I have my background, which is my white piece of paper. Now, the brackets to the right of the P, 2 brackets from the P, all right, will increase the diameter of my brush, and the bracket right beside the P will decrease the diameter of my brush. And I have blue as my color of choice right now. So I'm going to type or stamp my logo right onto that page. And by the way, I can change the opacity and the flow. I can push it and pull it, all right, all the way up. Let's actually go change the color. There's my red logo right here. I'm going to create another layer. All right, I'll make that even bigger. All right, I'll create another layer. Let's go change that color. All right, orange. I like that orange color. It's actually October right now. I will change the diameter of my brush multiple times. Now here's what's really neat. Now you notice I put all those orange MHs on one layer. I can change take the opacity down if I want. All right, and that is how to create a logo using the brush tip in Photoshop. And there is a program, a web-based program called Photopea, and it's very similar in how to create the brush tip. There's a little bit of a difference. So join me for my next video, and I'll show you how to create the brush tip, the watermark logo using your brush tip in Photopea. That'll be for the next video. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Again, it was about creating a watermark and a logo for you to represent yourself on all of your artwork and photography that actually belongs to you. It's very important if you're putting your work up on a social media platform or hanging it on walls, that you are represented fairly, and this logo will help you do so. This was about creating a watermark and logo using the brush tool in Photoshop and creating your logo as a brush tip. So now go ahead, stamp your hearts out, and make sure you represent yourself fairly on all of your artwork or of your photography.